Hi everyone, for today's featured liner we're going to be checking out the Harvard, one half of a once famous duo of ships that were known as the White Flyers of the Pacific. The sister ship of this one was called Yale, and typically the decor of both ships reflected the universities and the states after which they were named and located. These ships were built in 1907 and were originally designed for the East Coast run. They were big, they were fast, they were flashy. They were also almost completely identical. Harvard's statistics are as follows. The ship weighed 3,731 gross tons, was 123 meters or 403 feet in length, had a beam of 15.6 meters, which equates to just over 51 feet, had a draft of 5.8 meters, which equates to 19 feet, and a speed of 22 knots. As built, they had a capacity of 800 passengers with a crew of 211. Competition on the East Coast was intense, and these ships barely lasted 3 years before they were sold and sent over to California. Between 1910 and 1917, they serviced the West Coast before being called up to help with trooping services now that the United States had entered the First World War. As troop ships, they traversed the Atlantic taking troops, and at the end of that conflict, they were given a massive refit during which a ballroom was added to their after decks and their engines were converted over to oil. They then serviced San Francisco, Los Angeles, and their greatest success came while they were employed with the Los Angeles Steamship Company, running express runs and occasional cruises. This company in itself had a dramatic career and is covered in a separate book. The seemingly smooth and dream run of these ships with their successful careers came to an end, at least for the Harvard, on the 10th of May 1931 when it smashed into rocks off Honda Point. Honda Point is also infamous for being the location where 7 US destroyers, one after another, ran aground. In the Harvard's case, though, it has been described as the perfect wreck. There was no panic on board. All the passengers were efficiently and calmly evacuated. Warships were nearby conducting exercises and swiftly came to render assistance. And the ship as well settled on an even keel until everyone had been evacuated. It was seriously considered to salvage the Harvard. Unfortunately, the rough seas in that area destroyed those ideas and the ship. The bow of the Harvard snapped off, leading to some rather dramatic photos. And gradually, as wind and waves ripped the ship apart, the wreck was completely pulverized, and now only a few elements of the wreck survive underwater. The Harvard sister ship, Yale, carried on for a few more years before the full effects of the Depression robbed the ship of any chance of a livelihood. During the Second World War, it was used as an accommodation ship, and then in 1948, it was sadly scrapped. This is just but a brief overview of these fascinating ships, and if you want a more in-depth look at these ships, look no further than this book, The White Flyers, by George F. Gruner. It is the most detailed book you will ever find on these two ships that details their careers from their inception, construction, careers, and ultimate destruction and scrapping. The Coastal Service of the United States was a fascinating one with many varied vessels of interesting designs and looks and careers, and these are just some of those many vessels.